Liverpool went 8 points clear at the top of the Premier League as they edged past Southampton in a top versus bottom battle at St Mary's. And while we watched the best beat the worst on the South Coast, excellent Tottenham thrash woeful Man City at the Etihad, and new Man United boss Ruben Amorim scrape a draw at Ipswich in his first game in charge, we also saw some good, bad and downright ugly decisions from the Premier League's referees once again. Fortunately, there is nothing ugly about former Prem ref and SunSport columnist Mark Halsey, who is back as he is every week on the Whistleblower to dissect big calls during Liverpool v Southampton, Leicester v Chelsea, Arsenal v Forest, Everton v Brentford, Bournemouth v Brighton and Aston Villa v Crystal Palace. And with the PGMOL still reeling after the Sun published footage of ref David Coote snorting a white powder during Euro 2024, we'll ask Mark about the state of refereeing in the country and where we go from here. Mark, a crazy weekend after a wild couple of weeks. How's it going?
Yeah, all very good. Will, it's been another excellent weekend of football in the Premier League, hasn't it? So, listen, it doesn't disappoint, does it?
Right, we'll start on the South Coast, Mark. Southampton 2, Liverpool 3. Former Liverpool player Adam Lallana and his challenge on Ryan Gravenberch's the one I want to start with. The referee Sam Barrett, VAR Michael Oliver in this one. 23 minutes in, scores at 0-0. Lallana comes in really late on Gravenberch. A bit of a last-ditch attempt to win the ball. It's a late challenge. He clearly plants his studs into Gravenberch's ankle at high speed. Barrett awards a yellow card and no VAR intervention. Roy Keane said that if he had done that, he'd have definitely been sent off. It looked a really bad tackle from where I was sat. What did you make of it?
Yeah, listen, look, we've seen some poor challenges this weekend, haven't we, that haven't resulted in red cards. And I think, listen, what you've got to look at is Law 12,000 misconduct. Now, when a player's making a challenge and he lunges with 1 or 2 feet from the side, from the back or from the front, that endangers the player's safety with excessive force, must be sanctioned as serious foul play, a red card. And listen, I'm surprised that the VAR never reckoned a review, because I think that is a clear and obvious error by Sam. In real time, you don't see sometimes the challenges in its intensity. So that's why we've brought VAR in. And again, we're not seeing a good use of VAR. I know Howard Webb wants to stick with the on-field decisions, but on those sort of challenges, we need to eradicate that from the game.
So red card for you, that one, yeah?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Right, incident number 2, Mark, we can see it here, the penalty that Southampton were awarded for Andy Robertson's challenge on Tyler Dibbling, 40 minutes in, 1-0 to Liverpool at this stage. Now, this is the first contact, as you can see here. No question that Robertson didn't get the ball, made contact with the player. The first angle that we're about to see here shows where the challenge started, as you can see. Look, Robertson there, Dibbling well outside the box. The ball's on the line, Robertson not so much. And then we'll flick through to the next one, which shows where the challenge finished. Now, again, you could see there that it looks like they're still on the line. Now, obviously, the decision was given as a penalty in the end. It was checked and confirmed by VAR, and the wording was that there was no conclusive evidence that the contact occurred outside the penalty area. Now, it appears to me the pictures we just showed, which VAR would have been able to look at, were fairly conclusive. What do you make of it?
Yeah, listen, look, when I was watching the game yesterday, I thought it was very, very close to the line. And obviously Sam's right there and he's awarded a penalty. I actually agree. I don't think there's any conclusive evidence, because when they kept replaying the incident, you could perhaps just see that the Southampton player's foot was just on the line. And what we've got to remember is the line belongs to the referee. So, listen, and in that situation...
What do you mean it belongs to the referee?
Well, that's it. The line belongs to is part of the penalty area. So that is, if an incident happens right on the line, then it's a penalty. And it's a free kick given. It's a penalty, because that's classed as being inside the box.
That is the law, isn't it? If it starts outside the box but continues inside, you're saying the line counts as well. That is a penalty, yeah?
Absolutely, yeah. Yes. Okay. You're spot on.
Excellent.
Nice to see you knowing the laws of the game.
Exactly. I'm getting good at this, Mark. I'm obviously listening to you. Incident number 3. Okay, it's a 2-2 draw at this stage. 81 minutes in. Yukinari Sugawara's handball. Mo Salah, he delivers the cross. It hits Sugawara sort of on the ribs, almost on the chest first, and then onto his arm, as we can see here onto the screen. VAR checked and agreed with the on-field decision of a penalty. Salah obviously made light work of it, wins the game for Liverpool to send them 8 points clear at the top. What did you make of this?
Yeah, listen, I thought it was a bit harsh, to be honest with you.
Yeah, the Premier League Match Centre tweeted out just after the incident that the call of penalty had been checked by VAR, who confirmed that he deliberately moved his arm towards the ball.
You can't run with your arms by your side.
But the Premier League, the PGMOL, Mark, are saying that the reason they held up the decision was because it was deliberate, nothing to do with the positioning.
But that's what I'm saying. It's subjective then, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, I'm saying it's not. They're saying it is. So it's subjective. And you can't run with your arms by your side. You can't jump with your arms by your side.
Yeah, I quite agree.
And it's come off his chest onto his arms that are in a natural position for that phase of play, Will.
Yeah, I quite agree with you.
And that's what I'm saying about training education with our referees about incidents like that with handball.
Yeah. No,
it's about knowing the game. It's all right knowing the laws of the game. It's about knowing the game of football, Will.
Yeah, it did seem one of them. I think if you watch it in normal time, you kind of go, that's a handball there. But then, like you say, we've spoke about it before, with VAR onside, you want to be getting more of these decisions right. And I think it's sort of harsh to say that was definitely deliberate. Quite agree with you. One Southampton fan, my favourite tweet I saw though, did call Sugawara an idiot for playing volleyball in the box, which did tickle me. Right, the last one here, Mark, just very briefly on this. This was really early in the game, 6 minutes in, 0-0 at the time. Ibrahima Konate pushing the back on Adam Armstrong, as you can see here. The Southampton call was for a penalty. Armstrong's foot's outside, first of all. Konate and his hand only made very light, very brief contact with Armstrong's back. The Southampton fans were desperate for a penalty. Lots of people on social media kicking off about that as well. What did you think?
Yeah, listen, you can definitely argue it's a foul, but for me, it's not a penalty because he pushes him just outside the box.
Yeah.
So you can clearly see that his foot's outside the box. And so obviously he's given the corner rather than the foul. So, listen, we move on. Had it been in the box, it would have been interesting to see had the referee given a penalty for that incident. But clearly the incident took place outside the penalty area.
Right. Leicester 1, Chelsea 2. What a game. Madley Madness is what I titled this on my running order. Andy Madley, the referee for this game. Paul Tierney, the VAR. Now, the first incident, only one place to start. Wilfred Ndidi here, his tackle on Cole Palmer, 22 minutes in. 1-0 to Chelsea at the time. Now, you can clearly see here, and all the angles everyone will have seen across the weekend, that's not the tackle actually started slightly higher than the image we can see on the screen here. He's clearly coming from behind. Palmer's in between Ndidi and the ball. Studs drag right down the Achilles and onto the ankle. Palmer in clear pain. Alan Shearer said that he thinks he'd really deliberately trying to hurt him there. Only a yellow card awarded by Andy Madley and no intervention from Paul Tierney, the VAR. Your thoughts, please?
Well, I thought it was a very, very poor challenge when I saw it again. In real time, obviously, Andy Madley hasn't recognised the intensity of the challenge. I was surprised with the Premier League Match Centre come out and said there was no intensity. But I'll say it again. I said it earlier. When a player lunges at an opponent in that manner, from 1 or 2 feet from the front, from the side, from the back, it has to be sanctioned as serious foul play. That was the worst challenge of the weekend. And I was very, very surprised that Paul Tierney, the VAR, did not recommend a review. That was a career-threatening challenge. And as I said, it's the training education of VAR, when to come in and when not to come in. And Paul Tierney should have definitely recommended a review for that situation. I'm surprised, with Andy Madley. He's obviously he's a good referee, that he hasn't picked that up in real time. But okay, listen, sometimes you don't see things in real time in the intensity that you should. But VAR, Paul Tierney is there, and the referee's paramount is to protect players' safety.
Yeah.
It's paramount to protect players' safety. And in this occasion, we haven't done that.
Right, João Felix, Mark, was his safety protected in this decision here? 29 minutes in, 1-0 to Chelsea at the time. Boubakary Samari straight through Felix. Again, you can see here, studs into the outside of the foot, nowhere near the ball. Quite a high challenge. Only a yellow card given once again and no VAR intervention for a red. Thoughts?
The referee has got to look at, is it a reckless challenge, or is it a challenge that endangers the player's safety? And there are times where, there are challenges that are bordering on we could say an orange. I think on that situation, I think he's quite low. He's gone for the ball, and it's been deemed as a reckless challenge. Now, if you put those two challenges together, for me, that is a yellow as a caution for a reckless challenge. And indeed, he won was an absolutely nailed-on red card.
Yeah, fair enough, Mark. Right, incident number 3. Wesley Fofana on Steffi Mavididi. Not the one you're talking about here, but this was a challenge. Leicester claiming for a penalty. Fofana gets his body in the way, to be fair. Mavididi goes down. It's a difficult. I thought it was a penalty, seeing it on first watching. Nothing given. VAR stuck with the ref's on-field decision. Mixed opinions across the football world over the weekend. Your thoughts?
Yeah, listen, that means to show it's subjective, isn't it? Some say
I'm banning that word, Mark. That's it. No more subjective.
Some say it isn't. Now, listen,
what do you think?
When I first saw it, I thought, oh, is that a penalty? And then when I saw it again, I thought the Leicester player perhaps initiated the contact and he knew exactly what he was doing. So I would go with the on-field decision and not giving a penalty.
I think Fofana's a bit lucky there, hanging his leg out like that. Right, number 4, Mark. This is one of your phrases that definitely isn't on the banned list because I absolutely love it. You're going to talk to me about dog show, aren't you? Leicester City here awarded a penalty for this. Bobby De Cordova-Reid, it was tripped up by Lavia in the box. Now, the ref was going to award the penalty. It was firstly overturned because there was questions about offside. Anyway, it turned out that he was onside. A penalty was awarded. But what you flagged to me over the weekend was how and why Lavia wasn't sent off for this for dog show, denying a goal-scoring opportunity.
Well, I was surprised, I have to say, once it was confirmed the penalty, because, to be fair to Andy, it was a clear penalty. He's pointed to the spot, and then obviously the offside flag goes up, so they check it all, and obviously he's not offside, given the penalty. I expected a red card for an obvious denial of a goal-scoring opportunity. You can clearly see if he's not fouled, he's got a clear shot on goal, and it's not going to go to the goalkeeper. OK, Mark, right, we'll finish as we always do on the Whistleblower with a quick fire round. Everton 0, Brentford 0, probably the most boring game of the weekend. This is one of a few exciting things that happened at Goodison. Christian Norgaard sliding for the ball, studs connect with Jordan Pickford's knee. Nothing given at first, then VAR recommended a review and a red card was awarded. Norgaard had his eyes on the ball. Thomas Frank was fuming. Was it the correct decision to send off Norgaard for this? Yeah, I thought that was very harsh, Will, on Norgaard. The two challenges we've spoken about this morning, that was the least red card. And I thought that he was very unlucky. He's gone sliding in, the ball's there, he's gone sliding in to score a goal. Then Pickford comes across into his space. And listen, I thought on that situation, I didn't think that VAR should have got involved. Right, coming in, Mark. Arsenal 3, Nottingham Forest 0. Callum Hudson-Odoi. This was right at the end. Right, he follows through on William Saliba after taking a shot. Now, we've seen these before. Hudson-Odoi is who shoots. Saliba comes in. He makes contact really high up Saliba's leg with his studs. I've definitely seen red cards for this before in the Premier League. I personally find them annoying, but lots of Arsenal fans wondering why this wasn't a red. Your quick thoughts? No, listen, I thought it was normal contact. He's got a shot away. Saliba's come to block it. You're going to get those situations in the game of football. Yep. And I just thought that's a natural coming together. And listen, it's not a red card for me. No worries. Right, Bournemouth 1, Brighton 2. Carlos Baleba, second yellow card he received when we've got on here there was a challenge on Milos Kerkez, but it's actually a challenge by Milos Kerkez on him. You can see here next to no contact between the two, and somehow it's Baleba that got a second yellow card. I thought it was harsh. What did you think? That was never, ever a second yellow card. I'm sorry. I mean, like you correctly, the Bournemouth player's making a challenge, and the Brighton player comes across. He doesn't even make any contact.
Yeah.
And I thought that was very, very harsh. No, it's not harsh. It's not a second yellow card. End of.
Quite agree with you. Aston Villa 2, Crystal Palace 2. Brilliant game here, Mark. Couple of decisions in this one. This is the first. Will Hughes on Leon Bailey. Minor contact with his studs down the ankle of Bailey in the box. Penalty awarded. Correct decision, yes or no?
Not for me. Again, we've seen VAR get involved when they shouldn't get involved. It's a contact sport, and for me, that is subjective, and VAR should never got involved in that situation.
OK, another one in this game. Ian Martson, Aston Villa wing back, brings down Ismaila Sarr here when Sarr was through on goal. Only a yellow card awarded. Correct decision, yes or no?
Yeah, I think it was. Obviously, you've got to look at the criteria of law that I've explained, in
it's
recent
dog
shows.
Show, Mark. It's dog show.
Now, listen, it's obviously, the criteria, the direction of play, how far it is from the instant took place from goal, the number of players coming around, and the likelihood of keeping or gaining control of the ball.
Yeah, exactly. He's through on goal with no one near him, and he's going to score.
No, listen, look, you've got the Aston Villa player coming round. Listen, and you've got to look where the play is. I think that the yellow card was correct on that situation.
Fair enough.
I'm being consistent, and I'm being consistent with Saliba and the one with Liverpool Chelsea.
Yeah, no, you're blinded by your attempt to be consistent, Mark. Right, one more in this game. Maxence Lacroix, his shove on Ollie Watkins towards the end when through on goal. Nothing at all given. Ollie Watkins wanted a free kick and a red. Correct decision?
Correct decision, not a foul for me. You got both players jostling for the ball side by side. It's just upper body strength for me, and Watkins has got to be stronger in those situations. Fair
enough. And I can't leave this episode of The Whistleblower, Mark, without asking you about the situation we have seen recently with David Coote. The Sun published the footage, of course, of him snorting a white powder during Euro 2024 duty. The footage obviously emerged of him appearing to give Jurgen Klopp and Liverpool a bit of a hard time in the build-up to that. We've spoken about this situation at length already, but where does this whole situation leave the PGMOL and the credibility of top-flight referees at the moment, given as well that we've also learned in recent days that there's no drug testing for top-level officials?
Listen, it's difficult for me to say because it's obviously a lot of officials will be hurting, and obviously they will be feeling for David Coote. I feel for David. He's got to be supported by the PGMOL, obviously with his mental health, because obviously I can imagine exactly what he's going through at this present time. Listen, people could argue as he brought it upon himself, but at the same time we've got to take a duty of care with David. The PGMOL and the Premier League have got a duty of care to help him get through this.
Yeah, you're quite right there, Mark. But where does it leave the PGMOL? I quite agree with you with all that, but where does it leave Howard Webb and the PGMOL?
Well, a question asked: Does he deserve to keep his position as an elite referee? Listen, I'm not going to make any judgment on that. Listen. For me, everybody makes a mistake. I'd like to see him, rehabilitated on situations and perhaps keep his job, and hopefully he learns from his mistakes. But that's not for me to decide. That's down to the PGMOL and the Premier League to carry out their investigation fully and then come to the conclusions.
Mark, thanks very much. Brilliant as ever. Make sure you're back here next Monday for the next episode of The Whistleblower.